Good morning, everybody. It is such a beautiful morning. And yesterday, I hardly ate any food, but I ate a little bit of food, not a lot, okay? And I drank a bunch of my drink, and I feel amazing. I mean, when I eat a lot of food, it makes me tired and it makes my body work harder to get it out. So I'm finding now this week that, yeah, I feel so much better not eating a lot of food and eating the right food because I have a small fridge. I still have a mini fridge, okay? And when you have a mini fridge, you don't want to fill it with crap. You want to fill it with stuff that will keep you going throughout the day. And yesterday I was up early and then working on my paper, keeping a clear head, making connections, doing what I do, intermittently taking breaks and eating and drinking my stuff. Yes, I'm drinking coffee this morning because I like it because it's cold out. But I know these are negative elements, right? But there is trace minerals. So yes, there's mycotoxins. We know this, right? But there's also heavy metals in this. And when your body is finally working the way it's supposed to, okay? Now, I'm not drinking a lot of coffee. This is just kind of just to get me going, and then my body tells me to stop it. Then what happens is I will be able to absorb the trace minerals, the heavy metals that we have to have in trace amounts, right? Because the body will absorb what it needs, and then your filtration process will release the excess so you're not accumulating them over time. And that's why I have this other balancing force. But for me to do this, I had to get from way behind the 8 ball. So this is how you can have your cake and eat it too, is that you got to do the time, do the work to get yourself to a point of equilibrium so your body is working at its most optimal functional capacity. So that way you know what you can dabble in and then how to offset those negative forces. So I enjoy a cup of coffee because guess what? There are trace minerals in here. Okay, so if you read my first book about the elemental composition of the human body, you'll see that the first 9 elements are what's in my recipe. The electrolytes, the potassium, magnesium, water, what else? Salts, chloride, chlorine, fluoride, all that, right? So you'll read in my book that the first 9, 10, 11 elements are what your body needs, what's in my recipe. And then the rest, right? Because there's like 40 something are the trace minerals. Uranium is a trace amount that your body needs. Mercury, arsenic, fluoride, copper. I mean, you'll look at my book and you'll see. I mean, you can even just go and Google any type, anything on academia about the elemental composition of the human body. And then there's balancing forces, right? Because the balancing force to salt is water. Then you have chloride, and then you have potassium, magnesium, and then other stuff. And then that makes your electrolytes. And that's why that's the first 9 elements. And you have oxygen too, is the most abundant, to tungsten, but the least abundant. So now that you understand this and you get your body from way behind the 8 ball to where you're finally at a point of major equilibrium, and you'll know it because you've gone through the fire, and time will also pass because you can't get to a point of equilibrium in like 6 months. Everybody is so mutated. You have to understand that you're mutated. You can't be Cinderella in 6 or even a year. Now, if you're like 20 years old and you're looking beautiful and your parents are really, really, really healthy, I mean, they're not totally healthy, but they're really, really healthy, but they're still dying, but they don't have as many mutations as other people, you could be doing this juice in like maybe a year or even 6 months and be 100% if you're like 20 and you don't have any obvious issues. That's where someone can really get to that point of equilibrium very, very quickly, is when they're young. But you guys that are doing this stuff, you guys that are dry fasting, so let me segue into the whole dry fasting. Why do people dry fast for a continuous amount of time? Because they are totally behind the 8 ball. You have mutations, obvious mutations if you're dry fasting, or you have other things that are going on to cause you to starve yourself. People don't dry fast unless they are dealing with a health issue. But guess what you're doing when you're dry fasting? You are completely depriving your body of the necessary nutrients to help your body, the minerals, the electrolytes, the water, and then guess what? The body cannibalizes itself. You are basically forcing your body to burn fat, burn tissue, because it has nothing else. You're not giving it what it needs. And you're already behind the 8 ball. People use it to lose weight, right? But they're also compounding the issue. People are aging very fast when they're dry fasting, when they're already depriving of their body because they're being trendy and dabbling in all of these different, protocols, like doing urine therapy and everything else, and then they're going to go and starve their body. I mean, you need nutrients, you need salt, you need water, you need minerals. This whole dry fasting is going to damage people over a long period of time. You're actually accelerating the death process by depriving your body of what it needs. Oh, and let me tell you, you see the marketing out there. I was looking up dry fasting dangers of, and it was so hard to find an honest answer. But thank God, and this is a credible outlet. It's from things Medical News Today or something. And that is a credible source, not Wikipedia, not these, freaking other sites that are trying to sell you into dry fasting and then right there at the end say, hey, well, if you have any issues, here, buy this detox, right? No, Medical News Today. And that actually, Medical News Today is a direct link and has a relationship with PubMed. Medical News Today is a very credible link. They will tell you honestly, but it's very hard to find because all the marketing out there. You go Google dry fasting dangers of, find a needle in a haystack to find somebody honestly giving you what it's actually doing to your body. Okay? And that is the link. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to take this and I'll put this in the comments. You guys can read it. I won't treat you like children and read it to you, okay? Because that doesn't make sense. Copy. But you got the gist that you're basically, since you're not giving your body any sugar or any salt or any nutrients, there's nothing left to burn to create energy. And that's why you're lethargic. And then it's going to burn the tissues. And then you're going to be even more behind the 8 ball. Okay. And so then this segues into then the homeopathic medicine and the FDA allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but they're saying they're making it illegal, right? I hope so. Now, I know you're saying like, well, why can't we have a choice to be able to treat our body the way we want? Well, here's the thing. You guys are so mutated that are playing in with all of these different, remedies and stuff that you're not making wise choices because your body isn't being fed right, for one. So you're not making wise choices. And you're basically, doing Hail Marys with things that will damage you over a long period of time. Now, I'm sure you've heard stuff about the salt and how salt's all horrible, but no. I mean, salt by itself, yes. Anything by itself with no other balancing force, like water, would hurt. But that's like any element. When you take something that doesn't have the balancing forces and done the right way, of course, anything in one single element in a condensed version is going to hurt somebody. You have to understand that when you eat a lot of salt, you drink water. That's it, right? So let's get away from that for a minute. Now, we're looking at people taking zeolite, heavy metals, people taking diatomaceous earth and bentonite clay and borax. I've done the borax. And I did like one teaspoon in an 8-ounce glass of water and drank it. And guess what? My whole body just threw it up, right? Because that was poison. It wasn't like, no, I was dislodging a worm, which is what does happen when somebody is that mutated and they have worms in their body and they're drinking Jilly Juice, because Jilly Juice has positive elements. But you have to understand the chemistry, not just the symptoms, because people who don't understand chemistry will only look at the symptoms and then base those symptoms based upon the programming they received in the matrix. So they won't understand what Jilly Juice is, because they're going to think that when someone throws up or when they're having waterfalls, that it's all poison and dangerous. But people don't look past that. And that is why you have to have the government come in and tell you and monitor, because people are not thinking. They're reacting. They're so sick, they're not making wise choices. They don't read beyond the headlines. So yeah, government is your mommy and daddy, and they have to be, because people are being stupid. And the reason why they're being stupid is because they're mutated. They're desperate. And so it is a cycle. It is a problem. You know, the government puts out stuff and they have to control it. I mean, they don't control cabbage. And yeah, no, they're not controlling diatomaceous earth. But eventually, when they're seeing people doing it in a massive scale and they're seeing all of, you know, and somebody, maybe somebody's I don't know. I mean, I discovered diatomaceous earth, which is bad for you, okay? Back in 2012, when I was part of the chemtrails group. Okay, so the whole chemtrails fear is feeding into the holistic industry, and then in turn, the holistic industry is selling you all of these little, you know, these poisons that are upsetting homeostasis, to where it shuts down the voice of your body. Maybe you purge out some offending toxin, but really what it's doing is it's actually practicing DNA methylation. It's asphyxiating your cells to such a point to where it actually inhibits gene transcription. And then now we're seeing cannabis, that was totally demonized back in the 80s, now being used, okay, as a remedy in the pharmaceuticals, because there's a patent on it, but it's also being used recreationally, and people are using and making the oil on their own. No matter what, whether you make it on your own organically or getting it from an FDA approved drug, it's still a DNA methylation. It is still a Schedule I drug. It's almost like alcohol, but alcohol, they don't have it as a Schedule I drug. You get fired if you're drunk on the job and you're drunk driving, or you're operating heavy machinery with alcohol. That is illegal and not allowed. And you have to be, was it 21 and over? And then cigarettes is like 18 or something. Alcohol really should be a Schedule I drug, but it's not. But pot is a Schedule I drug for a very good reason, because I finally found an article that took me forever to find because I didn't know the right words. So I put DNA methylation instead of cannabis, antibiotic, which is a very one-dimensional programming, right? I put in DNA methylation and cannabis, and lo and behold, this article came up, because that word DNA methylation was in the article of Epigenetics of Cannabis, which totally confirms what I said yesterday about immunotherapies and DNA methylation, and then the vaccines, and then the cancer vaccines, and then this immune suppression, which is DNA methylation, and lo and behold, cannabis came up. And so, you know, I want to, because I've known people that have major health issues. So when you have major health issues and you're taking cannabis, whether you're smoking it or taking it sublingually or using it topically, there are negative effects that will then trigger psychosis in some people. I've taken cannabis where I felt like I was roofied a long time ago. It was so strong, I felt like I was roofied. So yeah, they have to control these things because people are being stupid about it, because they're so desperate, they're so mutated, making bad choices. The reason why government's in your life is because you're sick. The reason why you hate government is because you're sick. Government's going to use, here's the thing. I don't absolutely love government, because they don't tell you the full story. They tell you just enough to keep you alive, and then the rest is you're on your own, right? And then you're going to have all these different assumptions about it. But they really do try to warn you. But then you have the market, the open market, that makes money off of people's ignorance. And then you're like the media. The media is evil. The media will have you hate your neighbor, and the media will have you kill yourself. And then you have people who then take part in the media, like these naturopathics, that are contributing to all of the confusion, contributing to the demise of your friends and family, and then contribute to all of the drama by posting things about how doctors are being killed off from big pharma because they were, dabbling or hanging out with the THC crowd. Government is not going to kill anybody because they're a proponent for cannabis. Are you freaking kidding me? Erin from Health Nut News does that, and it pisses me off that she does that. She purposely misleads and triggers people into thinking that the government is trying to kill everybody, or Big Pharma is trying to kill everybody that does anything against opioids. No, the Big Pharma is in the holistic industry. Their hands are so deep in there, you can't even see it. I mean, they're basically, you just see the soles of their feet. That's how deep Big Pharma is in the holistic industry. So the media and, all these naturopathics are contributing to the problem by confusing the shiz out of very sick people. Okay? And so here we go. Here's the abstract of the epigenetics effects of cannabis exposure. And the reason how I found this is because I added in DNA methylation, which is gene mutations, which is epigenetics with cannabis. And that is exactly the same thing as the different immunotherapies that are out there and the vaccines. They're not going to call vaccines immune suppressions or immunotherapy. No, they'll call vaccines vaccines. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, we're trying to save you by damaging you and not teaching you about and that's where things, here's the thing. The government and CDC and the doctors are only doing what is necessary to keep you alive at that moment. They can't help that you may be way behind the 8 ball and that you probably shouldn't get that vaccine, or you probably shouldn't have this drug. But you know what? They don't know any better anyways either. So they're just going to, throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. And if you happen to die, well, it's not their fault, because guess what? You came in with all of these malfunctions. So of course they're going to absolve themselves from any responsibility because you chose to go and go see them and take that drug, knowing that, it's not guaranteed. They list all the side effects. They list all the stuff. Now you, as a person who's not making wise choices, are going to make a choice that obviously is not going to be good for you. And yeah, they shouldn't be held responsible because it's your choice to understand what the ramifications are from taking cannabis, or not even cannabis, from taking these drugs or these vaccines. But cannabis, there is no side effects thing, when you go and buy it at the downstairs neighbor or down the street. They don't give you a big thing saying, hey, this is the warnings of what cannabis could actually do. No, people are selling cannabis and they're taking cannabis with no knowledge of what it actually is doing to them in a negative way. And I can see why the government wants to control that. And it's not a bad thing, because they're telling you in the vaccine inserts what it's doing. You don't get an insert in your little cannabis package over there at this store. If they were to tell people this, and I'll read a little bit, I'm not going to read a lot of it, but I'll put this. Well, no, you see it on my Facebook. But it does, let's see. So here we go. So there is a growing clinical awareness about the spectrum of behavioral and neurobiological disturbances associated with cannabis exposure, such as anxiety, depression, psychosis, cognitive deficits, what else? Social impairments, and addiction. And the acute intoxication induced by cannabis consumption is strongly linked with concerns about its direct effect on the cognition and motor function. And then, but a central issue relates to its long-term impact, especially when exposure occurs during critical periods of brain development. Key gaps of scientific knowledge pertaining to the biological mechanisms that maintain persistent phenotypic and molecular alterations long after its acute use. So, yeah, right there in black and white, the government is telling you the long-term effects of using cannabis. And I already knew, because people are saying it's the miracle drug. They're not feeling any more symptoms from cannabis. No, you just did a DNA methylation. You inhibited gene transcription. When you disappear a symptom with any holistic element, whether it's apple cider vinegar, whether it's baking soda, whether it's Diet Spacious Earth, what else? Oh my God, I can name a few. Kombucha, what else? Turpentine. I can name you probably every single holistic remedy that's out there being sold by naturopathics. And what they're doing is they're inhibiting gene transcription. They are shutting down the voice of your body so you don't feel any pain, so you're not healing, and you're thinking life is wonderful because you think that pain, when it disappears, it means you healed. No, it just means that you took out the dashboard and you disabled all of your little spark or your little, what is it, those things that make your dashboard lights? You basically unplug the lights of your dashboard so you don't see anything. So you'll just be driving along thinking everything is wonderful, and you know that there's something wrong with the car, but you're not, the lights aren't coming on, and then one day the car just seizes. And you see this in the aging process in these naturopathics and these holistic professionals. They are aging like a mofo. And that's because they've ignored the dashboard lights. They're selling you a bunch of freaking stuff, and they're taking it themselves. And they're saying that, oh, because we disappeared the pain, we healed you. And they're steadily going over the cliff with you, and you're going over the cliff with them. This marketing stuff is so deceptive, totally deceptive. And I knew, because I know how I felt when I was smoking the pot, when I was doing it. It doesn't matter if they couldn't patent Rick Simpson. Rick Simpson is still aging. I don't care if they could patent it or not patent it. When they patent it, means they're trying to control it because they know people are idiots about it. And they'll take it as if it was water. And guess what happens? You are going to die faster. They're trying to keep you guys alive for a certain amount of time so you can still go to the office. Right? I mean, there's still a selfish incentive on the government's end to keep you alive for this long, but still make money for this long, but not totally kill you off right away like people think. I mean, the reason why we have biotech, right, to begin with, is because we have so much stupid industry that is doing all these negative elements in the air. And they have to figure out, can humans survive in these types of environments and still live and maintain and adapt? And if they don't, and if there is negative elements in the area based upon their biochemistry, what can we do to then disappear the pain and keep them working until their body just completely dies? And you see that, I see it all over here. People are going to, these doctors out here getting all these prescription medications so they don't feel any pain, but those elements are kind of, are manipulating their body to keep them kind of going, as the body is, because there's a battery in your body, right? You have a certain amount of life. And if you're not making money, or not making, sorry, if you're not regenerating your battery, guess what? That battery dies. But they know that battery lasts so long, and the sodium in the food supply, I understand, Jonah, that's fine. The sodium in the food supply and the drugs and all those things will activate, even and energize an immunocompromised body, but it's not helping you. It's just getting you up in the morning so you can go to work. And then maybe the little bit of nutrition that you get in the food supply is kind of sort of keeping you going, but then you're also mutated. You're aging very fast. You have issues that are coming up every 5 to 10 years. I mean, that's exactly how this world is working. They don't care to keep you alive past a certain amount of time. That's why they have the actuarial tables say, hey, it's going to be freaking expensive for you to get life insurance after 80. They stop giving you life insurance after 80, or you're paying so much money that you can't even afford that. If you're 75, you'll be paying $300 or $400 a month to get like a $10,000 face amount, because they know you're going to die because they already have it worked out. So in between, when you're born and when you're 80, they will find ways to kind of manipulate your body based upon your biochemistry. And then people are going to try to find ways to do it on their own, and they have no idea what they're doing. And then the government, mommy and daddy, have to step in and regulate it because people are being stupid. Look at alcohol. Well, the whole thing with alcohol is they have to go and do sobriety checkpoints. People are stupid. They tried to outlaw alcohol, and guess what? The mafia came in and made it, and bootlegged it. So they know that, when something wants to happen, it'll happen. So now they have to find a happy medium. They can't completely outlaw alcohol, so they have to control it. It makes sense. It really freaking makes sense. So I have no problem with government coming in and controlling all of these homeopathic remedies because people are being stupid about it. I was doing stuff too with these homeopathic stuff, taking diatomaceous earth. I learned about that in the chemtrails group, and I was taking that. What else was I taking? Borax. What else was I taking? A lot of stuff. And yeah, stuff is not going to kill you right off the bat. And you may feel better because you're shutting down the voice of your body. But over time, on continuous use, yes. But people say, oh, well, these things are great, because it disappeared my friend's leukemia, or they feel so much better. They don't have anxiety. Well, the reason why you have anxiety is because you have a root cause. And all you're doing is just shutting that voice down, so you don't know that you have issues. And then guess what? That anxiety is going to then turn into something bigger because you haven't addressed the root cause, and it's festering, and it's conspiring to figure out what other system it needs to attack. So I don't want to hear someone say, oh, well, a lot of people have really good results. What are good results? It means that you shut down the voice of your body. You basically inhibited gene transcription. That's what all these holistic remedies do. Cannabis and everything else, it inhibits gene transcription. That's what DNA methylation is. Now I finally put it all freaking together because I knew they did DNA. I didn't know exactly how it was being used in biotech because I'm not in these labs, taking, these elements and then applying them and then calling it these names. And I don't have the business process of these labs. So now I have to think with my head, what the fuck are they doing in these labs? And now I get it. So every single thing that's being sold out there in the holistic world and that is political is a method of DNA methylation, inhibiting gene transcription. And then people are saying, I got skin on my freaking lip, so it gets dry. So there's people saying, well, how many, like we have these scientists or that come on my messages and they're like, how many times do you think your cells can, split and splice and regenerate, right? And I'm not even going to answer. I'm not even going to deal with somebody in the industry. I'm not going into debates with that. So it's almost the same thing as like telomeres, you only have so much you don't have so much life, right? That's what the whole fallacy of the industry is you only have so much life. And we'll do the best we can to slow down the aging process, but it's going to be an eventuality, right? That's their whole foundation, their premise. And then they're playing within, your telomeres based upon your issues. So you may have very short telomeres because you have so many mutations, so your life is not going to be very long. Obviously, the more sick you are, the faster you're going to die. So then what they're doing is they've created all these things, and society has created such a confusion because of all the vaccines and all the extra technology and the extra negative elements. So yes, it's kicking up more elements and people are not reinforcing their immune system. And all of the shedding of the vaccines have created more exotic diseases, and all of their experimentation in biotech has created more exotic diseases. So people are dying faster. So now they're doing this. They're doing cancer vaccines. They're doing immunotherapies. They're using different, homeopathic remedies to shut down the voice and stop the symptoms, right? So then you can keep going, and then relative to how far gone you are. So the earlier you are in life, right, and you're getting all of these diagnoses, yeah, you're gonna now have a longer time to then. I would say you're not going to die from their methodologies because you still have battery life. But as you get older, and then you may shut down one voice, which is leukemia, and then it crops up and turns into Parkinson's, and you may shut down that voice, and then you may get Alzheimer's, and you may shut down that voice, right? So you don't have Alzheimer's anymore. Now your brain's clear, but then the root cause is you still haven't reinforced your immune system, so the diseases are going to find another place to attack. Okay, and that's going to be then your whole life is going to be that. Right? So what they're doing is they're just they're making money on slowing the death process down. What they're missing is that you actually have the ability in the right conditions to regenerate indefinitely. And that is what's missing in biotech, is that you have that ability to regenerate cells indefinitely. And there is nothing in the body that would be should be discriminated against from nutrition. Nutrition does not discriminate. Nutrition will take care of everything based upon the priority. Okay, it has its own intelligence. You can't control that. As soon as you try to control what gets healed first in your body, you've lost yourself into the system yet again. Okay, and so I don't even debate with the so-called chemists or scientists that are under the impression that the body is going to die at some point. Of course, in the Matrix, the body is going to die at some point because they don't understand this whole concept. They're still practicing in antibiotic, gene-inhibited, gene transcription type protocols. DNA methylation. So all of you naturopathics that are listening to me, guess what? You're contributing to the problem. You are inhibiting gene transcription with all of your methodologies that you're giving to your clients. I hope you feel happy about that. Now that you know what you're doing, can you go to sleep at night knowing this? Can you? When you look aged and you're selling, nutrition protocols, how is your nutrition protocols helping you if you're aged? If you're aging, how is that? You're selling DNA methylations. You are inhibiting gene transcription. Think about that, you naturopathics, homeopathics, and MLMers. Think about that. But if your paycheck is more important, then you just have to then call a spade and just say that you're part of freaking biotech. You're big pharma. You can't play this. Well, I'm against big pharma, when you're doing exactly what they're doing, but just in a different way. You're repackaging all the shit that they're doing. So anybody that is a proponent for cannabis, you're no different and no better than big pharma over there, Merck and GlaxoSmithKline and whatever else. And that's being very extreme, but you know what? Science does not lie. DNA methylation, inhibiting gene transcription does not lie. Immunotherapy, suppressing or artificially activating your immune system does not lie. You are circumventing the proper channels of using your immune system with the right elements, the nutrition. So I'm hoping I can reach some of these holistic professionals out there, or nutritionists that are selling MLMs, or selling dandelion root, or selling astragalus extract, or ashwagandha, or horsetail plant, or whatever probiotic supplement that's out there on the market. I hope you're listening. And if you are still actively doing your thing, you're just as evil, if not worse, because you're selling yourself as something different when you're just the same. And that is why I have so much hate against me, because I am exposing that, and people are going to be losing their mind when they finally realize what's going on and they stop buying your freaking stuff. So if you're not promoting Jilly Juice, then you're contributing to the problem. And I know people who are doing this, and it pisses me off, but I'm hoping that maybe that I can reach them. But I don't expect it, because remember, money is king. People will sell their soul for money. And it's obvious. And it makes me mad. It makes me mad. It should make you mad, right? So symptoms are good. You just need to have the right elements to then deal with the symptoms, bring the pain forth, deal with it, and then regenerate and that is what the Jilly Juice protocol does. It has you face the pain so you can finally deal with it. Your body can heal the right way, not by shutting the voice down and inhibiting gene transcription. No, you're going to deal with it, rebuild with the nutritional elements that are in my juice, and then you'll get to a point where, oh my God, life is so different. Okay? Wow. I have never been so clear like I am clear today. And look, I'm looking at I can't move back this dear AC unit. My husband has to move that. So this, you see, those are my juices. This is all I really truly need. And water. This is all I truly need. And I have drug addicts that come on my page and send me messages and call me all these names because I am challenging their addiction. That is why I get the hate, because the addicts out there cannot stand to have someone try to take away their drug, to try to down their drug, because they have been so damaged by the industry, by their parents, by society. And then you have these people that thought that, you know, that big pharma and the holistic industry were totally different. And then I figured out they're the same. But I had to get the science to prove it. And now I have. And I've been learning about this incrementally. I learned about DNA methylation in its separate, you know, entity. I learned about, you know, I don't know, all autophagy in its own, you know, and all these different methods that people are using that are so trendy. You know, autophagy cannot be induced without nutrition. People say, oh yeah, if you fast, it'll reset your whole system. Bullshit. Look at people who are fasting are aging like a mofo. There are people out there that are fasting that are aging very rapidly. And others, they go get facials and whatever else, right? And they're fasting and they're trying to be skinny. But guess what? You'll see it over time. Some people are very deceptive about their health, and they're doing all these trendy things, and they're going to the esthetician and getting facials. So you never know what's going on inside of them until you actually start seeing the cracks. Because you can only do facials and plastic surgery for so long before people start realizing you're looking kind of a little bit, you know, mutated. So for all of you pot smokers out there, you know, you promoters for pot, you are inhibiting gene transcription. They don't give cannabis and joints to babies out of the womb. That ought to tell you something. Cabbage is not a controlled substance. Salt is not a controlled substance. Water is not a controlled substance. When you go to the hospital to go get rehydrated because you have an emergency because you're so dehydrated and you're getting electrolytes, guess what's in there? It's saline and glucose, or dextrose, the type of glucose. That's some people have to get 8 bags because they're so dehydrated because they had the flu and they've been diarrheaing so much they have to go to the hospital and go get rehydrated. With Jilly Juice, you're drinking my juice and you're drinking water. I can't drink this without drinking at least equal parts water afterwards. I do get thirsty later, but I do get the initial, you know, waterfalls from this, especially in the morning. And then guess what? Later, I'm thirsty. And then guess what? I just balanced all of the elements correctly because my body has an intelligence. My immune system has an intelligence. I don't have to consciously think about breathing. I don't have to consciously think about, oh, am I getting, you know, this much potassium dosages per day? That's the holistic world. Oh, you need this many dosages. How the hell do you know how many dosages a person gets as far as supplements of vitamin A, B, C, D, and E? That's another marketing gimmick of the holistic industry. When you're getting all these tests, oh, you're deficient in this, so you need to have this. That's another marketing gimmick. You know, and it pisses me off watching people do this. You know, I'm watching these holistic people doing all these tests, and oh yeah, I show that I'm deficient in vitamin D, so I'm now taking vitamin D3 supplements. A lot of greed out there, a lot of ignorance. But there's a reason why I've been focusing on the whole thing with cannabis. And I knew I needed to because of how much press it's getting, how much politics are out there around the cannabis. You know, and wow. So to recap, cannabis inhibits gene transcription. It is DNA methylation. It is asphyxiating your cells to shut down the voice of your body. No different than going into a methane gas chamber closing the door and basically dying. It's just one molecule away from actually killing you, right? So when you shut down the voice of your body, so what was it? CH4 is methane, right? That's like a hydrogen 4 atom, so it's not molecule, it's an atom, right? And CH3 is DNA methylation. So that one atom is the difference of you dying. That one atom is directly correlative to the body, which is the voice, which is your immune system. So you shut down the voice of your immune system, you're one atom away from dying. That right there is eye-opening, because you can go Google that chemical makeup of methane, and then you can go Google DNA methylation and see how many atoms and what the elemental composition of that is, the chemical composition of DNA methylation. And that's exactly what they're doing. And then I have this another article just to prove damn skin on my freaking, that's annoying. Okay. All right. DNA tumor virus regulation. Hold on. It's about viruses. DNA tumor virus regulation of host DNA methylation and its implications for immune evasion and oncogenesis. So they're using DNA methylation to, let's see. Here we go. Here we describe viral mechanisms and virus-host interactions by which DNA tumor viruses regulate host DNA methylation to evade antiviral immunity, which may contribute to the generation of immunosuppressive microenvironment during cancer development. Recent trials of immunotherapies have shown promising results to treat multiple cancers. However, a significant number of non-responders necessitate to identify additional targets for cancer immunotherapies. Thus, understanding immune evasion mechanisms of cancer-causing viruses may provide a great insight for reversing immune suppression to prevent treat-associated cancers. So they're not telling you that they're actually shutting them. I mean, what they're doing is they're saying that they're injecting people with cancers, and then the antibodies are, but the DNA methylation is, let's see. Okay, DNA methylation is a potent epigenetic mechanism to regulate gene expression without altering DNA sequences. So they're shutting down the voice of your body, so specific symptoms and things that your body is supposed to tell you when something is wrong, they just disappear that, so you think everything is great, but really, it's not, obviously. So it's epigenetic. It's all epigenetic, but you can read about that. DNA methylation is catalyzed by 6 DNA methyltransferase that have been characterized to late, among them, all right, multiply isoforms by an alternator promoter of an alternative gene splicing. So you can look up, they have their own sales on here about how they're trying to make it seem like it's good. But tumor virus regulation, what that does is when you have a virus or a tumor virus, and you're doing DNA methylation, all they're saying is they're disappearing the symptoms of a tumor. Doesn't mean you got to the root cause. It means that they just shut down that part of your body so it doesn't come up. And so you think you're doing okay when you're not, because it's going to just shapeshift into something else. It's very hard to, it's very hard to find exactly what I'm trying to talk about and have it in the same exact written form somewhere, right? They're not going to say, well, it's shutting down the voice of your body. It's suppressing your immune system by doing this. Methane, just look up methane, okay? So, and then DNA methylation. And then it's a type of immune suppression. You can Google all that. So anyways, yeah. So now I'm bringing it right back to the holistics again. You guys that are dabbling in all of these different detoxes, selling them to your clients, and then, because why are nutritionists getting paid money? They tell me, what is this whole thing about nutritionists? Oh, I'm a nutritionist. What is that? Eat your vegetables, eat your fruits, stay away from processed food, and you get licensed for that? Or what are you doing? Are you using food as medicine? Oh yeah, take this garlic. You need a lot more of this cruciferous than you do this. Yeah, as a person inside, right? They have holes in their stomach or leaky gut, so they're not able to absorb the nutrition. So it doesn't matter what the hell you advise this person as far as nutrition, because they're not going to be absorbing maximum. Look at you as a holistic person. You're aging. Obviously, your diet isn't, your nutrition that you're advising other people is not working for you. And then you have these young nutritionists who are really cute right out of college. They're more deceptive because they look cute. And if you have money, they'll go and get facials. But you look at what they're selling you, and then you look at who created it, and some of it's probably dead or dying or aged. Because these young little kids are coming out of college, haven't done shit. They don't invent anything. They just take, they repackage what's already out there. Now, of course, this whole thing with the internet and, Microsoft, well, maybe some of them will invent stuff. But most kids that are coming out of college that are nutritionists haven't invented shit because they don't know what nutrition is. Their parents are aging and dying. Their professors are aging and dying. So what the hell are they selling? How do you get licensed to be a nutritionist? Is that something you get on the internet? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm talking smack, I know. But I just don't understand. Jonah, well, you just brought Jillian McKeith to my nutritionists who look like dehydrated. Right. Or some that are so obese that you're like, what the hell? Or they're so aged. Yeah, they may have lost a bunch of weight, but hey, if you go and starve yourself for 3 weeks, yeah, your body is going to eat up all the fat and completely stay malfunctioned. And so you look like, you just look like you lost a bunch of fat, but you never did anything to help, the aging process, because you haven't regenerated the cells to make you look younger naturally, not by going to get creams or facials. Oh, I'm sure nutritionists are telling parents to, yeah, well, these hospitals, these children's hospitals are major guinea pig units. Children's hospitals like St. Jude's and all these children's hospitals, right? Guinea pig clinics. Oh, please give us your specimens. Please give us your specimens. We need to do more experiments. Please give us all of the tissue that you have. And if you have to give your kid over to science, please do that. But we'll say it's in the name of science. You are helping other children who may have an issue. And, that's all the marketing BS. I can't stand children's hospitals. When I see St. Jude's, advertising, I just cringe. I'm just like, oh my God. All these foundations and charities, all they are experimentation marketing. So, yeah. I mean, it's a fine line out there with the government and their cozy relationships with corporations. They have to play that dance because they want to keep you alive for a certain amount of time, but they know that, you're going to start degrading, and they have systems in place to catch those that are degrading. And that's like the Social Security and disability. And that's why they're pushing the flu shots on the elderly people, because they know, hey, you're a useless eater. So let's just, give you a flu shot. And then there you go. Sorry, we didn't know that she was going to die from the flu shot. Not everybody dies from the flu shot because it depends upon how far gone you are. There's plenty of, seniors that have received flu shots that didn't die. So if you happen to die, it's because your body, your biochemistry, you're already way behind the 8 ball. So that's how they eliminate the really useless people who are basically right there on death's door, and they just need a little push. Yeah, it's a little evil, but that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, it's all in the name of money. Because not like, well, here's the thing. The insurance companies will give away flu shots because they know you're going to come back. So if you're young, like you're like 35 or 40 and you get a flu shot, yeah, they'll say, hey, it's free. We'll give you a pumpkin. We'll give you like a free, I don't know, you go to Paris. We'll send you a trip to Paris if you get a flu shot. I wish, right? If you get a flu shot. But they know you're going to come back because you're going to have all those complications because you just suppressed your immune system and you added more stupid elements that are suppressing your immune system. And then, then it costs money to get a flu shot when you're older, because you're not going to be giving any more money to the system anymore because you're on your last legs. So, so it's like, yeah, it's funny. It's not funny, but it's so now obvious. So doctors and naturopathics and allopathics and your local MLM person is inhibiting gene transcription. They are practicing DNA methylation without a license. Well, some have a license and some don't. And there's a reason why the government has to go and control things, because we have people who don't think with the right mind because they're so mutated, and they have to control some of these things because there isn't an insert in your cannabis bag of goodies. I don't see these cannabis clinics or these cannabis shops, these medical marijuana shops, with a list of side effects of what else it's going to do to you over time. Oh, hell no, they're selling it on it's a plant, it's natural. Well, so is uranium. Uranium is natural, so is arsenic, so is mercury. Do you see people taking that? But they're eventually, you know what, in like 5 or 10 years, when one generation dies off, they're going to use mercury, they're going to use arsenic as a way to manage your symptoms. It's another, you know, homeostasis interrupting, you know, gene inscription type of methodology that will be used, I'm sure. Okay, so just look at all the heavy metals on the periodic tables. I can basically guarantee you in the next 20 years, they're going to go through every single heavy metal in the periodic table. Already they're using colloidal silver. It's a heavy metal. Colloidal silver is being used as another gene inhibiting gene transcription methodology. Colloidal silver is being used. So yeah, eventually they're going to have arsenic spray. They're going to have uranium spray. They're going to have, what else? Mercury spray. I mean, this gets to get more ridiculous as time marches on, because they know every generation dies and they don't have that. They're not living long enough to pass down this information to their kids. So the kids don't know any better. They just know that, oh, you know, radiation used to be bad, but now we're using it to kill cancer and chemotherapy, right? So that's see, you know, Nagasaki and Fukushima happened, right? The atom bomb radiation killed a bunch of people, right? Now they're using it in freaking cancer clinics. That's exactly what's going to happen in the future. Mercury and arsenic are going to be used as a method to, you know, to manage symptoms. Mark my word. I mean, they're already using it in vaccines, right? The Marisol, in the flu shots, to artificially activate your immune system. Next, it's going to be sold on the open market, but it will be a prescription. Well, actually, yeah, they're using methamphetamines, right? The drugs that you see on the street, people look like with their holes in their face and stuff, right? Yeah, they're giving that to kids for Adderall, right? It's called Adderall. This becomes so ridiculous as we start uncovering, peeling back the layers of programming. Once you peel back the layers of programming and you start investigating what all these words are, methodologies, you're going to be so floored, you're not going to know what the hell. You're going to be like, well, oh my God, the world that I knew is not what I knew it to be. And that's why you guys got to do the protocol. You got to live long enough to pass this information to other people. And when you have kids, if you have kids, because my theory is when you're 100% well, you're not going to want to procreate, and your body's not going to procreate. You'll eventually tap into amenorrhea, and then you're not going to procreate. But at least if you don't pass it down to your kids, unless you lower your immune system and then get pregnant and induce, menstruation, then you can tell your kids, don't take anything that is sold by the government or corporations. Cabbage, water, and salt has never killed anybody, okay? And then you give them my book, and then you tell other people, you are inhibiting gene transcription with your pills, powders, supplements, and alcohol, and what else? All of your holistic remedies and whatever somebody in the holistic market is selling you, or an MLMer. You are inhibiting gene transcription. You are practicing DNA methylation without a license. What the fuck? Okay? This is the information you need to pass to your children and to other people. And when you die, you're useless. But the government wants you to die because they don't want you passing down good information, good data to other people. There's a lot of money in death. They want to hold all the knowledge and keep the population ignorant. Now We are turning the tables. You guys have this knowledge now. Use it, understand it, hold those people around you that are selling bullshit accountable. And if not, then you're part of the problem. And I have zero respect for you. And you know who you are. Those of you who are selling inhibiting gene transcription protocols, practicing DNA methylation without a license. Vaccine vectors is DNA methylation. All right, have a good day. Bye.